Now, this is the big breaking that we are getting at this point. Times of Israel has in fact reported that Prime Minister's office confirms that the Premier's private residence in Caesarea was targeted in drone attack from Lebanon earlier this morning. In a short statement, the Prime Minister's office says that the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife Sarah were not at home at the time of the attack and that there were no injuries in the incident. So this is the breaking input, the big breaking that we are getting at this point, that there has in fact been attack on the residence of Benjamin Netanyahu. I am in fact joined by my colleague Akansha. Akansha, this is a big breaking that coming in. What are the details that we are getting at this point? Has there been any casualty? What is the exact statement that has come from the Prime Minister's office at this point?
Right, Shireen, this is indeed a big news coming in, but one that is on expected lines, since we all know that the IDF successfully just a day ago has eliminated Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas chief, and so such a retaliatory attack was expected, not from Hamas as much as from the Hezbollah infrastructure in Lebanon, and we've seen how the operation is currently panning out in Lebanon. But to answer your question in terms of any casualties being reported so far, none as yet, as has been confirmed by the statement that has come in from the PMO, which says that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel and his wife Sarah were not home at the time when this attack took place, and that no injuries have taken place so far in the incident. The PMO statement also goes on to indicate that there were 2 more drones that were fired from the Lebanese site, which were in fact downed by the defense forces in Israel. Remember, this is the Prime Minister's private residence in Caesarea, which is a coastal town between Tel Aviv and Haifa. And the Prime Minister, as you also mentioned earlier, along with his wife Sarah, were not present at this private residence. And we all know that the entire Israel, as far as this entire area is concerned, whether it is Caesarea, the capital city Tel Aviv, or even Haifa, this entire area is right now on high alert after this drone attack. And perhaps this is, well, just the beginning of a greater escalation in Middle East, because ever since Yahya Sinwar was killed, we've seen how the Hamas has reacted. What the remaining military infrastructure of Hamas, there's of course talk about who is going to succeed Yahya Sinwar, but also in terms of how Iran will now respond to this entire situation. Israel, of course, as the US President has also confirmed, is currently buying time. They will weigh in on the way they want to respond to that ballistic missile attack that had taken place days ago from Iran's side.
Akansha, is there actually any possibility of a ceasefire? Of course, there's a pressure that is being built up on Israel by the United States, saying that the matter need not to be escalated at this point. But also considering that the perpetrators of the attack in Israel in last year on October 7th, be it the Hamas chief, be it the Hezbollah chief, both of them being eliminated, now can we expect a ceasefire at this point?
You've rightly mentioned that, Nasrallah from Hezbollah has been downed, as is, of course, a big mastermind behind the October 7 attack, Yahya Sinwar. Not to forget the entire sort of military hierarchy that we've seen in Hamas. Many are questioning if this is the end of Hamas or not. But the fact of the matter remains, when you talk about ceasefire possibilities or the release of even hostages, which is more important right now, or equally important as far as ceasefire possibilities is concerned, we are learning that Sinwar's body could in fact be used as a bargaining chip in this hostage return negotiation, perhaps in the ceasefire negotiation. Right now, foreign policy analysts are of the view that ceasefire possibilities remain extremely slim, but the US President in fact has said that there still may be hope for a ceasefire as far as Lebanon is concerned, but none as far as Gaza is concerned. We've seen how angry, the Arab world is, especially when you look at these forces, whether in Israel, whether in Gaza or Lebanon or even Iran. And so we'll have to see how Israel tries to use Sinwar's remains, which, as we are all aware, are currently being held in a secret location in Israel. So we'll have to see how Israel uses Sinwar's body and his remains as a bargaining chip.
Well, Akansha, also tell us, could you please once again go through the statement that has come from the PMO office at this point in Israel where this attack has taken place? What are the casualties? What exactly the details have in fact been put by the PMO at this point?
There's been a short statement so far. Remember, the PMO is very measured in its words, but the fact that they have already confirmed that there has been an attack on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife Sarah's residence, which is a private residence in Caesarea. And at the time of the attack, this entire statement also confirms that they were not present at this private residence and that no casualties or injuries have been reported in this incident. The PMO statement also goes on to talk about how 2 other drones which were fired from Lebanon have been downed successfully by the air defenses. And of course, Tel Aviv is on a high alert. So a very measured response coming in from the PMO, but we'll have to see if this is only a beginning of a series of attacks that will perhaps now be expected from Lebanon, because we already know that the military infrastructure of Hamas in Gaza is completely decimated. But we'll have to see how whatever...
Akansha, please stay with us as I'm joined by Rabinder Sachdev, who is the global affairs expert. So my first question to you is that how do you actually see the entire attack that is right now happened just few hours back, which has happened at Caesarea, which is the town in Israel, and in fact near the residence of the Prime Minister. So what could be the repercussions of this now?
Thank you very much. I think repercussions are already ongoing. I mean, there would not be any additional or any new repercussion by Israel, because Israel, as it is already, punching hard, okay, and at Hezbollah. And while it's punching hard, there will be some punches that it will also receive. I think Israel understands that. But yes, their air defense will be challenged even more in times to come, and especially if Hezbollah shoots off a large number of simultaneous rockets, missiles, etc. But that doesn't seem to be happening yet. So there will be such instances, and this is all part of the all part of the cause for which Israel is pushing ahead in Lebanon. And this is a coastal town, I think, which is a private home for Netanyahu and his wife. They were not there. Apparently, the drone did not, it hit a building near the house, perhaps, but there are no injuries. I think that's what they're saying so far. So these would be, and of course, it's expected, Hezbollah and all, they would pick out, they would try and seek, high visibility targets.
Yes.
That's what you want to gain in such scenarios. It's an asymmetrical war. So Hezbollah will be trying and targeting, either targets which are of high strategic value, like let's say army bases or air defense systems of Israel, or perhaps high visibility locations like Netanyahu's home. It won't serve them much purpose, if their drones are hitting common civilian areas, right? It will bring definitely a condemnation for the world community that you're targeting civilians, whereas if they're able to break through any one high-profile target, it brings some kind of a psychological victory for them.
Yes. Also, if you could tell us that, when we talk about Israel at this point, the perpetrators behind the attack that happened last year on October 7, be it the Hezbollah chief, be it the Hamas chief, both of them have been eliminated. Is there a possibility of a ceasefire that is being, pressurized by the United States as well? Do you think that there could be a possibility of a ceasefire?
On 2 counts, I think no. One, it will be not useful for Netanyahu to make a ceasefire now, because if he makes a ceasefire now, it will bring positive brownie points for Biden and Harris that their Middle East policy, they're being able to achieve something, right? And that will hurt Trump.
For more news and updates, all you need to do is follow CNBC TV 18 on all of our digital platforms.